Hey, what's good, y'all? So G Suicide, you watching OG Suicide in the building, and today I got my loved one Rome in the building with me. What's
Appreciate
good, family?
Hey, what's up, man? First off, I love how you say your loved one. I think that's I think I just think that's a beautiful way to introduce somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Mandatory.
Because sometimes as men, sometimes you like, oh, I don't want to say loved one, but it's like we all are in that energy, so it's a beautiful thing. So I appreciate you having me.
Oh man, I appreciate you
Yeah.
being here.
And also, I wanted to say before we even get started, my mother always taught me to show up with gifts, right? So
Okay, all right.
I have a sunglasses company called Shady Side Up, right?
Okay.
And so
I like that. Shady Side
So
Up.
I come bearing gifts. So I'm first and foremost here is a gift for you for having me.
That's tight.
Yeah, those are those frames are called the clear ports. Basically, they're aviator style frames.
Okay.
And I just wanted
Aviator.
to I
Okay.
wanted to give you those, and then for anybody listening, if you also want shades at shadysideup.com,
Okay.
everybody that listens to No Jumper gets 25% off with No Jumper 25 is the code. No
Okay.
Jumper 25% off. Get you some frames and
Okay.
yeah.
He's spotty right here.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, man. So
Okay. Let me check these things
yeah, check
out,
them out.
man.
Oh yeah, come on, man.
Okay.
You locked in. But yeah, no,
locked in.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Likewise,
Yeah.
family. And definitely, my show is based on mental health.
Absolutely. I'm with
To my
that.
knowledge, I was told that you also, have a show that's based on mental health as well.
Yeah, I have a show called Boss Talk, and where we pretty much teach people how to activate, elevate, and dominate their lives.
Okay.
And that's through mental health. That's through having no excuses for yourself. That's through just working hard. That's through. We've had everybody on there. We've had doctors on there. We've had lawyers. We've had multimillionaires. We've had people who have dealt with depression. We have all type. Everybody has been on there to talk about different topics, and
Yes.
so it's just a beautiful thing. I'm a self help junkie, so I love
same here, man.
anything self help.
Definitely.
I'm with that. Books, all that stuff. So yeah. So when he told me about your show, I was like, I definitely would love to come and kick it and talk.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
but where do your life starts off at? Like, what led you up to wanting to get involved with, mental health, uplifting, motivating, inspiring?
I've always, like we were talking a little bit earlier, I was born in Germany,
Okay.
military parents, bounced around, moved to Boston, moved to Panama, moved to Florida, then moved to North Carolina, where I was raised. My parents split early on, and then I went to college in Atlanta.
Okay.
And then I came here about 10 years ago with my comedy group. So I've been doing comedy now 14, 15 years or so, like writing sketches, doing all type of stuff, because I think laughter is a form of medicine,
Okay.
and so we've been doing comedy for a while. And then, as you get older, you start to realize certain traumas that you may have had when you were younger, even dealing with my relationships, like realizing that from my parents splitting up, that I had trauma that was still.
Let's take let's go right there.
Yeah,
from,
for sure.
Them splitting up.
Yeah.
Like, how old were you when that happened?
I'm
Teenage.
5, 6.
Oh wow.
Young.
You were young.
But those memories still there, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Was
I
it
hadn't dealt with
confusing to you?
Absolutely, you know what I'm saying? Hearing adults argue. When I got older, I joke with my dad all the time. But when I got older, I was like, listen, after dealing with women, I know why you was arguing. I get it. I was messing
You
with
understood.
I understood. But nah, of course, being a kid and you don't understand the dynamic of a relationship. You don't know what that means. All I know is I'm going with mom, and dad is over here, still in the military, still working. And then realizing that certain times, my dad, and it sounds funny, not funny, but it's like that age-old story where, he didn't come pick me up, or he didn't come do that. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, what's going on?
But after he told you he didn't?
Yeah,
One
right.
of those things?
Yeah,
Okay.
and I'm a kid, so I don't know any better.
Yeah.
And so I held on to this for a long time, but then when I got
You held a
older,
grudge?
not even a grudge, but we would bicker, we would argue a little bit. He was still in my life. I never want to get that twisted. He was always in my life, but certain aspects of it were just confusing to me, and then you see other kids with their dad all the time, and I'm like,
You're like, where my dad
yeah,
at?
you know what I'm saying? But what I realized when I got older, me and him actually just had a heart to heart when I was like, 18, 19.
Okay.
And I was just like, look, man, this is what I thought was going on. And then he broke it down just from a real like OG way. Like, look, me and your mom was going through things. I was still young. I'm still dealing with military. I'm still dealing with trying to figure out what's going on in my life.
Okay.
You know, I can't explain that to you as a 7. So I can explain it, but you're really not comprehending. And then I understood. And then when I got of his age, when they split, I was like, oh, I get the stuff he was going through, because I'm going through stuff trying to figure out career, trying to manage relationships, trying to keep a balance on, trying to eat healthy, trying to do good, trying to do all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, my dad was just a human being. He was just trying to figure it out. And me and my dad, people all on our IG all the time. We the best of friends. Like me and my dad, we with it all the time.
When you say y'all had a heart to heart, what was at that particular time? What was the first thing you told him you wanted to talk to him about?
I told him. I didn't even tell him. I think I led with the question, and what
was that question?
I think the question was,
if you remember.
I feel like I asked him. I think I started from like, why did you and my mom split?
Okay.
And then it went into, okay, well, why weren't you able to do these certain things?
Okay.
And he kind of broke it down from there. He was like, this was going on, this was going on.
Understood.
And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, that makes sense. Communication. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Which is what we lack a lot of times.
Yes.
Especially younger and then getting older, and they don't really teach you how to communicate. They teach you how to listen, you know, but you're not taught how to be verbally effective. You know, you can listen good, but then sometimes you don't. Some people are just talking and they're not saying nothing. Yeah. You know, and as a young kid, that's kind of what you hear. You hear talking, but I don't really hear what you talking about. You know what I'm saying? But I'm so glad that I had the wherewithal to like be like, hey, I think it's time for us to have a talk. I'm 18 now. You know, I'm a man.
Yeah, it's that time now.
It's that time.
We need to talk.
We need to step to the side.
Pull up on me.
Figure some things out. You know what I'm saying? So that was that, and it's been lovely ever since. And then,
that's good.
Yeah,
that's good to hear.
Yeah, so it's been good. And I think what made you want to get into this whole space? How'd that happen?
I'm a suicide survivor.
Okay.
When I was 22, I actually shot myself in the head.
Wow.
You know, God spared my life.
Absolutely.
He spared my life for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, and since then, it's like me sharing. I used to think, because I do music as well.
Absolutely. Okay.
And I've always thought that me sharing my music was what my calling was.
Okay.
Because I made music, you know, to uplift people, inspire people, and share my life story. Which, yes, it was an impact. Music is medicine.
Absolutely.
You know, so I used to use my music to inspire people, to motivate people.
Yeah.
But it dawned on me after a couple times I've done interviews.
Yeah.
You know, that people really like more of me in a physical form, seeing me talk, seeing me verbally speaking.
Yeah.
Than, you know, through listening to it through music. Yeah. So I really push for it. I push for mental health. Yeah. I push never give up. You know, I push to be the face of never give up, because I know what it feels like to actually stand there and say, I'm done with life. Yeah. And to just, you know, grab a gun and put it to my head and not think twice.
Yeah. And well, first and foremost, I'm glad you're here. So
both of us.
And we can have this conversation. And that's, you know, what's interesting about that is, I've been blessed, I haven't reached a depressive state. Okay. Have I been sad before? Yeah, of course. That was stuff. In those down times though,
what was going on in your life during those down times? You would say that had you sad at that particular time.
I'm gonna be honest. I used to be kind of obese.
Okay.
And so kids picked on me a lot. So it was like picking on me.
Bullying or just teasing?
Like little teasing, little bullying. But in hindsight, I needed that for my comedy, because I wasn't gonna fight you, but we can sure crack the jokes though. If we want to take it there, we can go there. And I wasn't realizing I was building the muscle over time.
So how much did you weigh when you say obesity?
Well, see, as a teenager, your body's different. So I was like 5'8", but then I weighed like 230 or so. But then now I'm 6'2" and I weighed like 210. So you can see the difference. I was shorter, but wider. But what's interesting is Ryan Holiday has a book called "The Obstacle Is the Way," and in the book he just teaches you how like whatever that thing is that's hard and in front of you, that's the way to get to your purpose, right? So I had to understand like these little obstacles that I'm running into in my life, this is the way that I'm supposed to go toward. Like this is the journey that I'm meant to go on. You know what I'm saying?
It's a part of your testimony.
It's a part of the testimony, and I taught myself. I'm a big routine person. Okay. I don't know if you have routine. Do you have a morning routine or
yes?
Like yeah. So I'm a big routine person. So anytime I feel like I'm getting out of whack or the day isn't, sometimes you have off days. You wake up, you're like,
yes.
I always revert back to my routine, and I tell people that a lot of times, like because it's an energy about that. I'm up early. I'm in the gym. I'm doing certain things. I'm drinking key lime water. I'm taking sea moss. I'm making sure that my body is vibrating at a certain place because that's where blessings live. They live in a certain vibrational space. So I try to make sure that I let people know, like when you're feeling bad or feeling down in these like moments, like figure out your routine. Figure out like stuff that's gonna get you towards where you're trying to go. So. Yeah, so when I'm feeling sad or feeling down, that's where I go to. I go to my routines and my energy because the energy is never doesn't die. It just transfers.
It doesn't die at all.
It just transforms and moves to different spaces.
And definitely, I'm in the gym. You know, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
You know, I'll get up, take my daughter to school.
Yeah.
Drop her off at school, hit the gym, but definitely start off. Tablespoon of sea moss.
Come on, man.
You know, in the morning, that's mandatory.
Tapped in.
Yeah, tapped in. Gotta have that.
When you off that routine, you probably feel off a little bit. You're like,
you can tell. You notice.
You're like, what's going
Something
on?
Missing.
Yeah. Somebody told me a long time ago, like, it's okay to get off one day, but don't go 2 days too late. You know what I'm saying? Because like once you get past like that 48-hour window, now your brain is starting to think like, oh, are we slowly changing into this habit? You know what I'm saying? And I'm a book reader.
Like you're relapsing.
Yeah, and I'm a big book reader. There's another book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. And in the book, he talks about like, basically people aren't the sum of like the work they've done. They're the sum of the habits they've created. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people create these certain habits where they fall into a place of depression or of certain ways, but they have to find out their trigger points. Like, what are the trigger points that are leading you to the habit that you keep doing? And that book really changed my life because it made me look at every little thing I'm doing. Like, let's say, for example, you might be a cigarette smoker for somebody, maybe, and that's a habit. There's certain triggers that they not realizing that they doing when they smoking that cigarette. Maybe as simple as like tapping the pack 2 times and getting the cigarette. Just a change in like not tapping the pack, it throws off the brain, the rhythm in the brain, and now you can start to implement new habits in there slowly but surely. And that blew my mind. I didn't even realize that, like, even at nighttime when you go in to brush your teeth, there might be a certain rhythm that you're doing with your nighttime routine, brushing your teeth and doing all that stuff, and you're like, wait a minute, if I just change this one thing, now it throws my whole rhythm off, my habit's gone, and it happens to us all the time.
Like a program.
It's like a program, and habits never die, they're just reformed. So that habit that you have is always going to be in you, but you just create new habits on top of that, and they keep stacking,
add up,
and keep adding up, and then eventually, it
now
shifts.
You have a lot of bad habits going.
You got a lot. You can either make them bad or make them good. It's all about choices. It's all about choices. Like you said, in your situation, unfortunately, at that time, you made that choice, but you're still here to talk about it, like, so. And
I have no regrets.
I mean, because
everything I went through made me who I am today.
Absolutely.
And had I not went through what I went through, then I don't know who I would be.
Absolutely. And you said you had a daughter, right?
Yes. Well, I have 4. I have 4 kids.
4 kids
and 5 grandkids.
When you first had your child,
my first child.
Yeah, your first child.
Yes.
What was the biggest change for you at that time?
Man, I was still in the streets.
Okay.
Like, heavy gangbanging in Compton.
Yeah.
Like, I was so caught up, in the streets to where it's like, it seemed like nothing else mattered.
Yeah.
Being abandoned, as a kid, growing up in a foster home, being adopted, is one of those things to where I never really learned or wasn't guided or taught how to be a father. So even at this age now, they're still learning lessons.
Absolutely.
They're still, I'm still find myself learning things that no one ever showed me. I was always, all my life, was taught the street life.
Yeah.
You know, somebody come over here, y'all go back over there.
Then that's it.
You know, get money. You know, certain things, and I was programmed.
Yep.
That was my habit.
That was your habit. Yep.
That was my habit.
Mm-hmm.
I had a kid. Yeah, I love I have a kid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it feel good. Like, wow, I'm a father, but how do I be a father?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Okay, it's more to it. I've learned it's more to it than, you know, financial.
Yeah.
You know, being there.
Yeah.
Being in their life.
Yeah.
You know.
And there's a difference between love and compatibility, right? It's
exactly.
two different things. Like
Big difference.
You can have love for somebody,
yes,
but you may not be compatible for this part of their life.
Yes.
And you got to get that compatibility.
You had to get the compatibility.
Yeah.
And like I said, right now to this day, you know, even with my youngest daughter, Anaya, I'm still learning.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't mind learning. And one thing I learned, you never get too old to learn.
Absolutely.
Never feel like you can't be taught nothing or learn nothing.
That reminds me, there's a audience. Listen, if you want the books, I got the books. There's another book.
Okay.
Called The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari by Robin Sharma, which is basically about this lawyer who was running himself in the ground, right? And he had the cars, the clothes, the jewelry, all this stuff.
Everything. But
he went to the doctor one day. Doctor said, look, you are on your way out the door. You 1 foot out the door. Your health is deteriorating. You got to stop doing what you got to do. So, and he had an apprentice up under him that was working up under him. And then, so this lawyer said, you know what? I got to change my life. He left. He went to India for 5 years. He comes back into town, and this apprentice started talking to him, and he's like, this guy is so wise and so strong. It's like, who is this? Come to find out, of course, it's the lawyer that left town. He went and got his mind right, and in this book, he basically walks through and teaches this young guy the principles of life. And when you just said you always growing, it reminds me of a word in there they use, which I think is a beautiful word. It's a Japanese term called kaizen. Kaizen, which basically stands for constant growth. Okay. Right. So I always tell people, like, you got to have kaizen in your life. You got to have constant growth, constant elevation, and that's basically what you're finding out as you keep living. We never gonna stop growing. And I don't think people realize that, like, you might know everything you can know about a subject, and it's still one other thing you're gonna find out.
Yeah, you'll find out later. You're like, oh wow, I didn't know that.
I never knew that. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what's so beautiful about being a father, being a parent. I can't wait till I have that blessing, that opportunity. But because I think your kids teach you so much about yourself. Yes, I'm sure to this day, there's certain aspects of yourself that you like, dang, I didn't even know I was capable of that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I was always that one, man, as a kid, man. I remember a lot of my neighbors used to tell me, like, you keep going the way you're going, you won't live to be 16. I remember going to their funerals.
That's crazy.
You know? You know, I've always heard that, you know, as a kid growing up, because I don't know, man. It's just like the streets was all I knew.
Yeah.
You know, Miss Price, who adopted me, love her. That's who I've always respected as a mother. Yeah. You know, her, my godmother, Charlene Jackson, and Mama Will. But Miss Price, that was my everything. Yeah. You know, but when she adopted me, she was older. And she had got sick. And during this time when she got sick, pretty much I was asked to leave, and, you know, from her daughters, and I pretty much was through to the streets. I was already out there, and bringing drama where I rest my head. Yeah. So it got to the point to where it's like, we're not doing this no more.
Yeah, you know, I'm curious sometimes. Like, so I think, like, we talked about choices earlier, and I'm curious. I'm just like, I wonder, you know, because you said you got thrown to the streets in that environment. It's just so interesting how
I created that situation by living that lifestyle.
And that's why I'd be wondering sometimes, like, do you think, because I'm sort of a no excuses type of person, but I want to get your perspective. Do you think that people, it's kind of a cop out sometimes when people are like, well, I was in the streets and that's just what it was, or did you literally know in your mind, like, I could change, like, I know I could change this?
Well, when you're living amongst that lifestyle, change is the least thing on your mind.
Got you. Okay.
You know, it's like this is
just surrounded by it.
Yeah, you're surrounded by it. You grew up in this environment. fascinated by the OGs,
Yep.
they lifestyle, making money.
Yep.
Like, this is what I want.
Yep.
You know, as a youngster,
Yeah.
and you get so caught up
Yeah.
in this lifestyle. I wouldn't say it's a cop out. I just would say that's just like a person that goes to college.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna do to get this degree. You know, and they push and they push and they push and they graduate and they get them degrees.
Absolutely.
But that's where their focus
That's where,
is.
yeah.
Nothing else matters.
And what you tune into, you turn
what
into.
What you tuned into, you tuned into.
Yeah.
You know, only thing you may flip the channel.
Yeah, got you. Yeah.
That's it. But definitely, like, that's what it was.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get tired of it. You don't realize it until you get older.
Yeah.
You start thinking like, well, wow. I started realizing, well, I'm not getting younger.
Yeah.
I don't have a 401k.
Yeah.
Like, what am I gonna do? What's my
what's the rest of my life going to look like?
What's my 10 year? I'm 53.
Yeah.
So
you 53?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't even look 53. Oh, yeah.
Man, hey,
come on, man.
Black don't crack.
Hey, no,
unless
don't.
You're doing it.
You drinking your water? You know what I'm
every
saying?
day, faithfully. Too much water.
Got to use the bathroom.
Yeah, too much water.
Yeah,
you know?
no, I feel that.
But I was so caught up. But like I said, I have no regrets because the streets was my guidance.
Mm-hmm.
You know that
for sure.
The streets was my parents.
It teach you a certain lesson too, just a social lesson. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I've always been one that teach people under me.
Got you.
To be different.
Yeah.
You see me doing this, but don't do this.
Yeah.
Be better. Do better.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's how it's supposed to be. Yeah,
I was one of the ones in the neighborhood, and I catch the little homies ditching school. I'd, punch them up and take them back to school.
Yeah.
Even though I was still living this life, but I always want to see better.
Yeah.
And sometimes, people would ask me, like, well, do you think by you being abandoned, like the lifestyle you come from, brung this upon you? I really feel like, no.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's just, man, falling in love with something.
Absolutely.
And I feel like I couldn't love nothing more than the streets. Mm-hmm. And as I got older, I started realizing, like, you got to love your kids. You got to love your family.
And love can be blind sometimes, you know what I'm saying?
It really can.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm more on that, man. I have a saying, my energy is vice versa. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what you bring to me, I'm going to bring back.
Yeah.
So definitely, and just like they say, what you put out into the world is, what you get back.
Absolutely.
So I'm more focused on now, like, okay, yeah, I come from this lifestyle, but I'm more focused on now putting stuff out into the world. I want to be remembered as a person that my saying is saving lives is changing lives. That's
Absolutely.
My motto.
Absolutely.
And I want to be remembered from that. I don't want to be remembered from, man, that dude, when he was in them streets, I don't want to be remembered from that.
Yeah. And it's a couple things that you talking made me think about, like, it's the pretty much like we're all dealt a set of cards, right?
Yes.
But you just, as you grew up, you just chose to play your hand differently. You know what I'm saying?
I played my hand differently.
You went from playing goldfish all the time.
Yeah.
Now you're going to throw a little poker in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Play a little spades now. You know what I'm
every
saying?
now and then I get a joker.
You know what I'm saying? And that's just life. But even when you were talking about how, saving lives, I think I firmly believe that the highest form of love is serving.
Yes.
Like, I think that's the highest form of love, because think about it, when you're a parent, serving is, you love that for your kids. Like, when we go do community service, there's people don't understand, if you've never like really when volunteered or did community service, something like that, there's a certain energy that comes with that, and you leave fulfilled. Like, you leave because I think we all are here to serve each other, because we can't take the mics with us when we die. We can't take we can't take none of this stuff with us.
Not the material.
But you can take people. People might not remember your name and what you look like, but they'll remember how you made them feel. And I think about that all the time.
That's a key thing.
I'm thinking about that all the time in business.
Yes.
That's going to run. You can maybe not be the best at your job, best actor, best anything, but you go in a room and you make people's energy feel good. You make them smile. They be like, man, we can do something with. Maybe we can come back to him. Like,
we'll find something.
Yeah, we'll find something.
Yeah, we got him.
them lessons are all up and down. It's in the streets. You can't. Yes. You got to make sure you treat people with a certain way, or or it's gonna get taken there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't want that. But I think serving is such a beautiful beautiful thing. So I'm so happy that you are here. You serving this community right here. You serving the people this knowledge, like, and doing something. That's why I love doing Boss Talk, because it's just like we get to serve, we get to create these environments and these spaces where we could talk about stuff like this. You think about 15, 20 years ago, ain't nobody.
I didn't think I would be sitting here.
You know what I'm saying? Having these type of conversations.
Having these type of conversations. I really did.
Yeah, no, and I think that's a beautiful thing. I think I kind of want to share this story. I told it on my channel before, but it's about the time I met an angel.
Okay.
Right, and I just think you would appreciate it. So, because I feel like you tapped in spiritually. So,
mandatory.
I think it's a beautiful thing. So, I'm like 23, 24. I'm at home. I'm going through regular life stuff. Like I was kind of broke. I'm in Atlanta. Car was run down. Ex just left me. All that stuff like that. So I had a lady in my complex who I call my prayer partner. So I would go to her. We pray. We sit. We like manifest. Do things of that nature. So one day, I go to her and I tell her all my problems. She's like, "Look, go to your closet, turn off all your technology, and just start talking to God. Talk to the spirit. Like, get your spirit out." So I'm like, all right, cool. And she was like, be honest. Talk about what you're going through. Just get it all out. You know, empty the vessel. So I was like, all right, cool. I go, I do that. I cry, all this stuff. I get it out. Next morning, I'm chilling. I get a knock at my door. It's like 9 a.m. I'm like, who knocking at my door at 9 a.m.? I open the door. It's a man standing there. He like 5'6", 5'7", white dude. On his tag, he had Jacob written on his tag. And he was in like a maintenance outfit. Now I'm looking at him, and I see the other maintenance man walk by, and the other maintenance man is looking like, what you looking at? And I'm looking at Buddy, and the dude says, we're doing sprinkler checks. I'm like, sprinkler checks? What type of sprinkler checks?
When they start doing that?
What's that? I thought my sprinklers was cool in here. So I let him in. I just go back and sit in the living room. He was like, oh, I need to check the sprinkler in your closet. I was like, I got a lot of stuff in there. I was like, I got a lot of stuff in there. He was like, well, sometimes you got to clean that out. And let me jump up there. And I said, all right. So I move the boxes. He get up there. He start working. He working. Then he just started talking to me. He was like, you go to church? I was like, yeah. And at the time, I was going to this church in Atlanta. He was like, oh, yeah, I know that pastor. He was like, oh, yeah, that's a good dude. He was like, my father really loves him. He kept saying my father. He was like, my father really. I was like, oh. I'm like, all right, cool. That's good.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay.
At the time, I was trying to learn acoustic guitar. And with the way my apartment was set up, you couldn't see inside my room, but I had an acoustic guitar in the corner. Then all of a sudden, this is what started to trip me out. He goes, hey, man, so how long you been learning acoustic? I was like,
how you see that?
I was like, he ain't go in my room. Like,
yeah.
I was like, a little couple months. He was like, oh, man, my father loves music, man.
Oh, wow.
I was like, okay, interesting. Then he goes, hey, you think I can get some water? I was like, yeah. So I go to him. I go to him. I grab a little pitcher of water, I pour it in the glass. I turn around. He's off the ladder, and he's looking at me. And I'm like, what are you looking at me like that for? So I go to hand him the water. And to this day, I never forget. He's looking at me, and he goes, we heard you. He says, we heard you, and I'm here to tell you that everything's okay.
Straight out
like that. So now I'm sitting there looking at him. I'm like, nah, I'm tripping. I must have ate something crazy. Like, like my mind, I'm wilding right now.
And them tacos spicy.
They sitting crazy on my stomach right now. And I was like, excuse me? He was like, we heard you, and I'm here to tell you that everything's all right. He was like, our father wouldn't put you through anything that you couldn't get through. And when he said that, now, like, my heart racing. I'm like, what? Like, then he goes, he's like, understand you're on a mission. Understand who you are. And I'm just like, my mind is blown. Then he holds out his hand. He was like, I'm Jacob. And then I was like, I'm Rome. And when he grabs my hand to shake it, and I kid you not, you know, like when you fall asleep on your arm and your arm go numb?
Yeah, get numb.
My arm instantly goes numb. And I feel like this warm sensation going on my arm. The only way I can describe it is like, I've watched stories of people when they like have kind of passed away and came back. They said they felt a peace, like that they couldn't really, you can't describe it. That's and now I understand. I had no idea what they were talking about. Like I felt like it was the most peaceful I ever felt to this day. I just felt like nothing mattered. Everything was okay. And it goes up my arm into my chest. I just start crying because I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. It's just coming out of me. Then he shakes my hand. He says, "Hey, look, man." He goes, "There's a guy here. He's really into the spirit. You should talk to him." Another maintenance man here. He said, "But my job is done here. I have to go." He leaves. I'm shook. I run to my prayer partner's house. I tell her everything. I'm like, "Man, go to my house and get this." She like, "Oh, calm down." I'm like, "This and that and
relax.
So then I sit down and she kind of laughs. She's like, "Let me show you something."
Yes.
She comes out of the room. She gets a piece of paper. On the piece of paper, it says sprinkler checks. And she was like, "Look at the date on there." The date was 3 months earlier. They've been done sprinkler checks. She was like, "That wasn't a sprinkler check.
A spirit.
That was a spirit check."
And a good spirit.
And I said, "Hey, yo." Like,
it's real, man.
Blew my mind. So to this day, can't nobody tell me nothing about that part.
Man, Miss Price have came and seen me, man, several times. You know, during those times where I be feeling like, you know, even after when I got out the hospital from my attempt, I still was living the same life.
Yeah.
I was still homeless. I was still sleeping pillar to post wherever I could. And I can remember nights, man, you know, sometime I would sit on people's porches, you know, all night. I'd stay at homies' houses. I was 21. You know? I just turned 22. But staying here, staying wherever I could. And I can remember a time, man, I was, you know, sitting on the porch in my neighborhood. And it was raining. And it's raining. I'm crying. I'm feeling like I can't do this no more.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of started having that feeling again. Like, I can't do this no more. You know? And I remember seeing a form, man, of Miss Price. When I looked up, was standing right there. Loved one, standing right there. And from that day forward, man, I knew I had a guardian angel watching over me.
Absolutely.
And I got my life together after that.
And it's so crazy because, like, until you experience it, it's hard to even, like, convey the message to somebody. So that's why I just felt like I could tell you that and you would understand exactly
definitely.
what.
Definitely, what man. It's been a couple of times.
Yeah. And you like, okay, all right, let me get it together. Let me lock it in. And sometimes you just need those little signs. You know what I'm saying? You need. I tell people all the time, it's like one foot in front of the other. Like sometimes we try to.
Yeah, that's my thing.
Sometimes we try to like
the other.
make this big thing, but you got to just have the compound effect. They just got to compound on top of each other. You top each other.
Tunnel vision,
which is another book, The Compound Effect. Okay. But it's just on top of each other until over time it creates the exact thing, the big monument that you want. Like you start when you start a sculpture, you don't start with the whole thing. You start with like, let me chip a piece here, chip a piece here, chip a piece here.
And to his scope.
Then you step
and that's
back
what
and
I tell
sculpt it.
people a lot. I always tell people, loved one, like in life, everyone is focused on getting rich.
Yeah.
The bigger picture.
Yeah.
Nobody understands the small picture. And I just like you said, I tell them all the time, I said, if you take out a piece of paper right now and you start to draw, you're going to start off from a smart portion of your drawing. And then you're going to add to it, and you're going to have a full picture. That's kind of how life is, because some people have jobs. And I get a lot of calls because I give out I've been having my number for 17 years.
Yeah.
I give out my personal number. It's public.
Yeah.
It's out to the public.
Yeah.
So I get messages, phone calls from everybody from all around the globe.
Yeah.
And sometimes people will be like, man, I'm working this job. It just ain't enough.
Yeah.
I got all these bills. It's like I'm working paycheck to paycheck. Every time I get a check, it just covers the bills. I said, okay, I get it. Yeah, you got to crawl before you walk. But I said, do me one favor. They'd be like, what's that? I said, picture you without that job, with them bills. I never really.
It's gonna be different.
I never really looked at it like that.
Yeah.
Like, eventually, you know, you're gonna develop. Life is gonna get better. You can't really put a time frame on when that's gonna happen. But when you least expect it, just like me, I was one of those ones. Like, man, I need it to happen now. I used to pray for money.
Yeah.
Instead of praying for my life to just get better.
Yeah.
You know, I would only focus on money. If I could just come up on 10,000, if I could just come up on this.
Yeah.
I was praying wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think you realize, like, I'm praying for something that's outside of my control, right?
Yes.
But why don't I pray for, like, better habits, better decision making, better
decisions.
Now it'll start coming, because now, like we talked about earlier, now my frequency is different.
Yes.
Now I'm moving different. I'm talking different. I'm speaking different.
One foot in front of the other. Moving forward.
You pray for $10,000.
Yeah.
God gonna look at you and be like, all right, I mean, I feel you, but you gotta do some work. Like you got
it's not just gonna fall.
Yeah,
out
you
the
gotta
sky.
go do something. You know what I'm saying? But if you pray for just a sound mind, sound body, sound spirit, you like, okay, now I'm making slight changes.
I started praying for life development.
I'm becoming a better parent, better leader, you know what I'm saying? Better man, better father figure, better, better brother, better influencer. What now you putting now you're providing value. And I think that's what a lot of people got to realize, that, oh, my business not making money. Your business needs to provide some type of value.
What value do your business bring?
What's the story behind it?
Yes.
People love a good story. Like, how are you conveying that to the people? Like, even with my business, with my shades, it's all about perspective. Shades change your perspective. You put them on, it's a new perspective.
Look different, yeah.
You look different. So we want you, when you
yes.
put our shades on, to start thinking about different perspectives in your life where you can change, where you can figure it out, where you can, like, say, you know what, I was thinking this way. Now that I got these on, let me start thinking this way. Let me see how I can change. If the colors can change, so can I. You know what I'm saying? It's that same type of notion. So when your business brings value and people listen and understand the story, it just makes it that much better. You know what I'm saying? And you have a story. I have a story. We all have a story in here.
And that story brings value.
Exactly.
And I'm really seeing that a lot. Like, sometimes I go back and just, read the comments from all the episodes that I've done, and it really gets me emotional. Just happiness, tears of happiness, man. I can remember I used to, drop tears from pain, from stress, from depression.
Yeah.
And now to be in a position to where it's different, and taking what I went through or what someone have been through, and putting it out there into the world, and allowing them to see that, to show everybody, you're not alone.
You're not.
You're not alone. You're not by yourself. Like, everybody go through something.
Yeah.
It's all about how you react to it, and you can't panic.
Yeah.
In a situation.
Yeah.
You definitely can't panic, and a lot of people go into panic mode.
Yeah, you gotta just, like, I tell people, you gotta breathe. Like, breath is the first thing that you start with. It's the last thing you exit with when you leave this earth. Like, when you get mad, your breathing changes. When you're happy, your breathing changes. When you're excited, your breathing changes. When you're sad, your breathing changes. So when you're going through a situation, that's why meditation is so important. Like, it helps you focus on your breathing, helps you focus on centering yourself. Like, when you do come up on a situation, which is inevitable, we all go through situations, but now you know what? Let me breathe. Let me breathe in. Let me breathe in life and love, and exhale all the nonsense out of me. You know
all
what I'm saying? And then it helps. Like, it's very important. And when you start to realize that how breath work is so important, you're like, oh man, like, I don't have to panic in every situation. I don't have to get all tense, like our bodies tense up. Now, be loose, be cool. Like, it's gonna be,
especially when you angry.
It's gonna be all right. Like, you gonna pop a blood vessel, brother. Relax. You know what I'm saying? We all get frustrated. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. We all make mistakes, but then we realize, you know what? Let me get back to what I know. You know what I'm saying? Let me get back to doing my things that's gonna help me. Yeah. So for sure.
And that's very important in life.
Absolutely.
Definitely. And just like I always tell people, man, like, mental health is very important. It get kicked under the rug, just like suicide get kicked under the rug. And I tell people all the time, like, we have kids committing suicide, 7 years old, 6 years old, 8 years old. Like, y'all really gonna sit there and tell me that this is not a problem? We don't have a problem? For
sure, a problem.
We have to fix this.
Yeah, a message isn't being conveyed the right way. You know what I'm saying? And it's happening at an alarming rate, and that's why people like you are important, like, to be speaking on this all the time. So don't ever stop doing what you're doing.
Ever.
You know what I'm saying? Always talk about your story, because it even if somebody listens to this and one person gets say, hey, that's one.
That's it.
That's one.
Real, and that's important.
That's very important.
One person and that one person to go share it with another person.
Yeah, but that's why I just, mental health is important, and that's why doing these things, like, granted, it's tough. Like getting out of old habits and changing is tough, but it's possible. To, like, your story, it shows that it's possible.
It is possible.
Like, understand, we are connected to the earth, right? And if we're so on our phones, that means we're disconnected to our home, which is earth. Like, go outside, get some sun, like, get some vitamin D, touch a tree. It sounds woo-woo, it sounds hippie, but, like, I love it.
Real.
Like,
yeah.
Put your feet in the grass, feel the earth, like, understand, like, you a part of this, and that's gonna help rejuvenate. Put some vegetables in your body here and there. You know what I'm saying?
That was our social media coming up. Outside.
That
was our social media.
It was like we was out, playing around, like having to communicate a game, having to make up a game. You know what I'm saying? You know how powerful that is to have to go outside and be like, all right, well, I ain't got no toys, so let me figure out something.
Take a crate and put some wheels on the bottom of it, or whatever it is.
Which is so powerful, because those maybe somebody that's looking for a business idea and they like, but I can't think of nothing. Be like, nah, you used to go outside and think of a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You could definitely do it. Take whatever you was gonna do outside, put it inside now, and put an LLC on it and make it happen. You know what I'm saying? So do these things that just help you get back in a good zone, man. Like that. Everything that helps your mental is just so important. Like, stop distracting yourself with so much social media. I get it, it's a lot, but, like, take at least your first hour of your day and get off your phone. Like, as soon as you wake up, you don't need to get on the feed. It's so much negativity coming at you as soon as you wake up.
A lot of it.
And that's a powerful hour when you wake up.
Don't even allow negativity.
Yeah, they don't. They shouldn't.
They don't.
They shouldn't.
But it's force-fed to us.
When I went to Africa this is May of last year, June, I went to Tanzania, and I was there, and everybody, they have less, but inside they have more, and you could just tell, like, because they're
rich here,
rich, wealthy, all of it on the inside. Here. They have a community, right? Mm-hmm. They have tribes. Where just to make a fire, 2 or 3 men had to come together to make the fire. One holds this, or to the women, they in the kitchen cooking together. They brought us in to help cook with them. They say, you are now family, because we all eating together. Like, and that's what we missing. Like, we're in the most connected world in that right now, especially in the Western societies.
Communication
so
is
it's
bad.
like they are outside. They got to go get the food. And when you have to go get the food, you appreciate the food much more when you got to go get the food and you got
to go get this.
You got to go get this.
And I walked far.
You treat it differently.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You understand. You talk to it differently. Like, everything has this certain vibration. So you got to watch the way you speak to everything. And I could just tell that they were so much happier because they wasn't just staring at their phone all day. They was outside. The kids were just playing. They got kids 4 or 5 years old out there with herds, like, having to bring, like, with real responsibilities. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, these things are necessary. And that's why a lot of people are depressed and mental health is down, because there's no community. There's no, like, connection. Like, human connection is important. It's important. Conversations like this is important. To connect with people, to spread love is so important, and it helps you just rejuvenate your life.
People rather send a text, a whole full conversation through text. I'm like, no, get on the phone.
Hop on the phone. Hear a voice.
School.
Yeah, hear a voice.
Talk to me. Yeah. Let me
pull up on me if you're in the area. You know what I'm saying? Like, hit me if I'm home. Like, let's chop it up.
Through. Yeah. Communication is definitely, it's not there. Just like a lot of people don't even speak to each other.
You're not.
They just look at you crazy, like you got something smeared on your face.
Yeah.
Like, hey, how you doing? I greet everybody. I don't care what color your skin is.
A good morning could change a whole day.
I was at 7-Eleven one day, and I told this story before, and I got out the car. There was a gentleman standing in front of the 7-Eleven, and I'm like, hey, how you doing, man? Hope your day is going well. He just looked at me and, kind of shook his head at me. I came out to 7-Eleven, and he said, can I ask you something? I said, yeah. He said, why did you speak to me? I'm like, what you
mean?
Like,
you standing right?
Yeah, what you mean? What did I speak
like, yeah,
to?
what's up?
I was kind of threw off.
Yeah.
He like, no. He's like, I said, well, I speak to everybody. That's just me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my adopted mother, my mother, she always taught me that to greet everybody.
Absolutely.
Speak to everybody.
Yeah, respect.
Don't care what color their skin is.
Yeah.
You greet people when you see them.
Yeah.
And he was like, do you know, man, moments before you pulled up, I was thinking about killing myself.
Look at that.
And you speaking to me really made me think different. Like, there is people in this world that do care. And I was like blown away. Like, yeah, like that's what was on your mind. And like, yeah, I'm out here. I'm homeless. I'm on the streets. I ain't got nothing. So what's my purpose? You will not be homeless always. You can get through this. I've been homeless. I told him I've been homeless before. I'm actually a suicide survivor. And we talked for a while, and he was just like, wow. It blew him away hearing my story. And when I left knowing there was hope for him.
Yeah. Yeah. You
and
put
he
that in.
Realized it. Yes.
You put that in.
Yes, but it was a trip, man. Like, I speak to everybody.
You just never know. I'm the same way. I was at a restaurant with my dad one time, and this waitress, she looked like she was just having a bad day. Like, her energy was low. And then I told my dad, I said, hey, like, we got to talk to her. We got to see her. So I just started talking, like, what's your name? Where's your story? And at first, you know, the outside, she a little hard. She didn't want to, you know.
She didn't break right away.
Yeah, then we cracking jokes with her and And then eventually, by the time the shift was done, she was like, I'm not gonna lie, man. I was about to quit. Like, you guys stopped me from, like, because
she was tired.
You know, I was tired.
Overworked.
Overworked. You know what I'm saying? But you made me realize there's some good people out there, man. Like, and that's all it takes. Sometimes you just gotta say what's up to people. Like, how you doing? God bless you. You know what I'm saying? Have a good day. It ain't that hard. It don't cost you nothing.
$0.
$0 to say what's up. Especially if you walking in a room, like, that's mad weird. I walk in here. I just sit down. You can be like, "What's wrong? You good? Like, what's up?
You all right?
He's straight."
Just walk in, sit down. Yeah, see like 6 people in here.
You know what I'm saying? You ain't say nothing to nobody.
Who you came with?
Exactly, man. So I mean, I love what you're doing, man. I could talk about this stuff all day, bro. Like, yeah. So I definitely appreciate you having me.
Yeah, family. Like, it really do, man. And just seeing how it changes how people think from. And I've learned, like, a lot of the audience that watch the show, man, are going through relationship troubles or addicted, you know, to drugs, or they just at that point in their age, age in their life, they feel like, what am I living for? Yeah. You know? Yeah. And just being able to point out a reason and a purpose to keep going and show them, like, I did it. Anybody can.
Any story,
I'm no different.
Anything you got and you share, like, even if it's something small on social media, like, you just don't know. Because I stopped drinking a little while ago. Okay. Maybe 4.
You was heavy on it?
Not heavy on it. It just wasn't serving me no more. So I was just like, I'm good. So I stopped. Just cold turkey in October.
It was every day or occasionally?
Occasionally, but when I knew.
But when you drunk.
When I drunk, I was just like, it didn't make me feel good. Like, I wake up next morning, I'm like, man, this ain't.
Fifth,
yeah. I was like, I'm good. I don't know how to have one. I gotta have 2, 3.
I don't want to drink no more.
I was like, you know what? I'm good. And then so I shared maybe last week or something that I'm like 125 days I haven't had to drink. You know, I appreciate it. Yeah. And it's not like I said, I wasn't an alcoholic, but it's just like, it just wasn't serving me no more. Yeah. But I realized so many people DM me like, you know, I've been thinking about stopping drinking. I've been thinking about, I'm glad you shared this. Like, what's the effects on you? And I was like, oh, I was just sharing. I didn't even know it. Yeah. You just don't know. That's why anybody out there, share your story. Like, talk to somebody. Like,
talk to somebody.
You can help somebody. Like, whatever you're going through, somebody else is going through it. You know what I'm saying? And
you'd be surprised.
You'd be surprised. Yeah. And I was telling people, like, yeah, it's been a great decision. I don't see myself going back no time soon. So, yeah, I'm locked in. Like, I'm locked in. I just want to go full speed ahead on optimizing my life. Yeah.
And that's very important. Yeah. You know, it's very important. You know where you headed 5 years from now, 10 years from now. You have a plan.
Yeah, I'm thinking about future me. how would future me look at me right now? If future me ain't proud, then I got to do some more work. You know what
something
I'm
wrong.
Something wrong.
If future me not happy, then wait a minute.
We got to figure it out.
I'm back to the drawing board, like
Absolutely.
the coyote on the Roadrunner.
That's a throwback. You know, some of these kids, they be like, what you talking about? They don't know about that. Absolutely.
That's for real, family, for sure. Appreciate you coming out, man.
No, thank you, man.
You know, very important. Keep doing what you're doing as well.
I appreciate it, man.
You know, especially, pushing for mental health, man.
Absolutely.
We need more people getting out here, with a vision, going in the same direction for the same purpose, same cause. So
absolutely,
I support that.
Thank you, man.
Definitely.
Thank you for having me. God bless you. You're doing great things. You're going to keep elevating, so I'm excited,
Mandatory.
I'm excited.
I'm going live at 5 today, too, taking phone calls.
There you go. Changing lives.
Yeah, changing lives. Saving lives is changing lives. I'm OG Suicide, man. This is OG Suicide in the building. Make sure y'all subscribe to OG Suicide in the Building YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
Go get the merch from OGSuicideInTheBuilding.com. Make sure you check it out. I want to thank my loved one, Ron, for stepping in the building.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful.
A little shady side up, you know what I'm saying?
I definitely want to thank you for my shades. I ain't afraid to wear my shades.
You know what I'm saying?
And when can they get these?
And they, like I said,
once again,
www.shadysideup.com. And everybody listening to No Jumper, just type in No Jumper 25 at checkout. You'll get 25% off.
You heard the man.
Check out Real Boss Talk Podcast. Check out Comedy Trap House Podcast. And you can follow me at I Rome a lot. IROME a lot, man. And God bless every one of y'all. You going to be great. Keep being great. Keep elevating. Keep dominating. Keep activating. And let's get it.
And always remember, there's nothing that could go on in your life, ever in your life, to make you want to take your life. So always remember, never give up. Peace.